Welcome to ProtectYourBrain.com daily webcast. I'm William A. Van Horn, MD, a medical doctor who specializes in Alzheimer's disease. The purpose of the webcast is to answer your questions, so please send them to me via Twitter, Facebook, email, or our toll-free 800 number. Today I'm going to answer the question, why is my mom with Alzheimer's disease acting so crazy? I can remember being in the hospital, I was seeing some patients, and we had an admission. Her name was Ann. She was a 73-year-old retired teacher. I guess it was about 7 years before she came to the hospital, she had been diagnosed with early memory loss. And because of the approach the physicians took back then, they decided just to watch it to see if it is Alzheimer's. Now, as you've heard me say, if you listen to these webcasts or you have the DVD series, it's really, really important to start medication early. Well, they decided not to because they wanted to know if it was Alzheimer's. Well, the longer you wait, the less brain you have to treat, the less effective the medications are. They actually waited 4 or 5 years till she didn't know what year it was, she didn't know what city she was in, she still knew what state she was in, and they started medication. That was about a year before she got to the hospital. Well, the way Alzheimer's progresses is it starts with immediate memory. I mean, in other words, you have a hard time learning new things. That's why the test, the mini-cog, where you ask a person to remember 3 items, and then you distract them for a minute, come back, and they try to see if you remember the 3 items. That's a test of the part of the brain called the hippocampus, where we store new information. And if you aren't familiar with the mini-cog, just go to ProtectYourBrain.com, and you can click on it to test your family member. I explain the mini-cog in detail. So anyway, when she came in the hospital, again, this is a retired teacher, sophisticated lady. She started hitting our nurses. She actually spit on one of our techs. And she was completely out of control. And so Ann had gone from early memory loss, didn't get treated. They started treatment too late. Now what's happening is, as the brain starts losing cells, remember you're losing memory because you're losing cells. Well, you start losing cells in this part of the brain, which is the front of the brain. That's the part of the brain that we control our emotions with. So if someone gets me mad, the reason I don't hit them is this part of my brain controls it. Well, people with advanced stage Alzheimer's disease have lost enough of this brain that they don't control themselves. Now, how do you get that under control? Well, I've been doing this for over 10 years, taking care of patients just like that. And I find it to be very, very rewarding work. And the reason it is because a lot of people at this stage just end up being sedated, put to sleep. And basically, when you start sedating an elderly person, you're decelerating their lifespan. They're going to die sooner. Because people that lay around sedated end up getting some other kind of illness that kills them. So the key is finding a medication combination where they're awake, alert, sleeping at night, smiling, happy, and so on. And I actually go through 8 stages that I'm not going to detail today. But one of the big stages is ruling out what's called a delirium, which is making sure they don't have some type of infection that's making their brain go crazy. The most common type of infection is a urinary tract infection. And believe it or not, when I first heard this 25 years ago, that an elderly person with a urinary tract infection can actually go crazy, it's like, how could that affect it? Well, it does. So if your family member all of a sudden starts acting different, check for a urinary tract infection. We do a lot of other lab work too, but that's the main one. It's about 60 to 70% of the time, that's what it is. So the other thing I do is I start several different combinations of medications, some to boost energy, some to raise acetylcholine, but we have some mood stabilizers. And usually with that combination over about 10 days, I can get someone like Ann under control. And sure enough, 10 days later, Ann's family came to pick her up. She was holding their hand, she was smiling, and she still didn't have any memory, but she had her dignity back and she could relate to her family. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, send me your questions, Twitter, Facebook, email, or our toll-free number.